are live! Hello mga partners! Sa mga nakikinig at nanonood, do not be alarmed. You're watching the right program. Ano tayo ngayon? Marketing-centric and female empowerment episode for tonight. I'll of course proceed later on to introduce to you all. Medyo hindi na naman ganun kakaiba ang ating mga guests or ang ating mga partners for tonight. For at least say hello, Chris, and say hello, Wina.
Yeah.
All right.
Hello, Chris. Si Chris muna.
Hi everyone. So of course, very honored and very joyful yung moment kasi this is I think the first time that we'll ever have our girls night, 'di ba? Oh, 'di ba? Girls night nating live stream sa ating Resto coach. And this is the first time that we'll have a marketing centric talaga. And I'm so blessed because of course I am surrounded by these wonderful women, 'di ba? That I really look up to. So I'm very excited for the episode ahead.
Ayan. Thank you, Chris, sa ating mga kagalentines. Okay, let's go, Wina.
All right. So good evening again, Cher and Chris, at sa lahat ng nasa classroom ng Coach and Share show. Yun nga, ay kinagagalak ko, round 2 for the same topic. At yun nga, no, first time na girl power! Di ba? Girl power. At sa isang topic na talaga namang malapit sa puso namin ni Chris at ikaw ni Cher, di ba?
Yes,
Kung anong
of
side
course.
man yan. Client o kaya agency side. So yun, napaka-exciting ng ating gabi. I'm happy to be here with girls like you. Diba?
Ayan. Thank you. So before we proceed sa ating episode 164, o di ba? Ang gusto ko yung comment mo kanina, Wina, hinihintay mo yung 168 para ang ating mga prosperous dragon year.
Correct.
Oo, yan. Top 3 takeaways lang muna ako kasi it will give us context from the previous episode. So the first one is providing a structured marketing plan because it is crucial for businesses to effectively navigate and stand out against competition. You've mentioned, Wina, also on the importance of share of attention, share of wallet, share of stomach, and it needs serious planning and strategy. Hindi siya basta-basta, alam mo yun, hindi siya yung ura-urada at moment na mangyayari. Yes, Wina, feel free to comment.
Diba, hindi yan, mahirap yung didiskartehan na lang. Pagdating sa marketing plan, hindi pwedeng, sa talagang maraming pag-iisip at pagpa-plan.
Oo, hindi siya bara-bara, hindi siya pwedeng school of bara-bara. So, second point would be the evolution of marketing landscape. So, yun yung integration ng digital platforms that significantly transform the marketing environment. So, marami siyang basic na nami-maintain, but we still need to adapt and leverage on these platforms to reach and engage with their target audience effectively. So, because of attention is shrinking, budgets of competition are expanding, channels are multiplying, ito na mismo, papasok ang ating millennial na si Chris, di ba? Tama yun, Chris?
Yes.
Yung biggest difference. Any comments on that?
I thought sasabihin mo, Gen Z ako, Michelle, kaya lang, na tama. Okay, sige.
Pa naman.
Na-reveal na ako ay isang millennial. Yeah. So, it's an ever-evolving, alam natin ang marketing talaga, it's an ever-evolving craft, diba? Because our market, not only the industry itself, but our market, those we are serving, is evolving din. Yung trends natin, diba? Yung behaviors, it's evolving with times along with technology. So, every year, it's really nice and it's really good to check up on kung ano yung mga insights, kung ano yung mga trends. Diba, we saw how the pandemic really changed it, how TikTok changed the game, the platform for everyone, changed how marketing is done for other brands. So, it's really good to be up to date with those things as well.
Ayan. Thank you, Chris. Tapos yung last but not the least, maganda ring seg sa ating episode for tonight is the balance of the strategies and the adaptation. So, may balance between moment marketing and long-term marketing programs. While moment marketing seizes immediate opportunities, long-term programs provide sustainable growth. Kumbaga, nandun niya yung branding, di ba? Yung ating thematic branding. Additionally, staying relevant in a constantly changing consumer landscape requires businesses to continuously adapt their marketing strategies to meet evolving consumer preferences, but not losing itself.
Yes.
But not losing the brand and what it stands for. O, di ba? Ang ating pillar pagdating sa part na yan, di ba, Wina? Yan yung lagi mong binabalik na as my client before.
Correct. Check kung aligned pa rin siya sa brand, di ba?
Yes.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Ay, yes,
Yeah,
Chris.
and to add to everything lang, I think it's very important. That's why yung getting to know your brand, 'di ba? Kasi if you really know your brand, you get to know your brand personality, yung brand tone mo, 'di ba? Brand identity. No matter what trends or kung ano yung ever-changing platforms that you get into, kung ano man lang bagong thing that you want to trendjack on, but it's really has to be a must that your brand is still identifiable through the messaging.
Ayan.
Agree.
Yes.
Napaka-tempting pa minsan, no? What Chris is trying to also point out na gusto kong i-highlight. Sometimes, ang daming tempting na trends, right? And yun nga, you want to trend jack while the opportunity is there. Pag talagang hindi sang-ayon, okay, hindi bagay. Diba? Don't. So, agree, Chris, 101%.
Ayan, ayun. So sa ating mga nakikinig tonight, so good evening. Please tag and share, invite more people to our conversation. Hello, Edwin Uy. So meron tayong mga, please feel free to have your questions on our live chat. So without further ado, ang ating part 2 kasi tinignan natin yung context. Now we're on the how. So ngayon, ako naman ang gagawa ng role ng magtatanong. And I will ask Wina first and then Chris when it comes to these questions pagdating dun sa how. So please do prepare your notebooks kasi ito na yung practical exercise natin pagdating sa how to come up with a marketing plan and calendar. Ayan. I'm sure meron tayong mga calendar. Hindi ito yung pinag-uusapan nating dragon calendar. Ito na yung calendar pagdating natin sa business. So, first question would be, pinag-usapan natin ng marketing plan. What makes a plan solid? 'Di ba minsan parang it takes so many months to prepare. What makes it a solid plan, Wina? And then Chris.
Oh, and you know what? Alam mo, kahit Tita Wina is here, napakaganda to also kind of like also get the fresh perspective and fresh pero experience yung si Chris, ano? But I guess, what makes a marketing plan solid? Babalikan ko lang yung mga fundamentals na na-cover niyo ni Coach in the previous episodes, no? Kung ikay matagal na business, you already have your vision, mission, and the numerics, di ba? At the heart of it, ang negosyo, di ba? Meron numero, kaya kasi nga, negosyo siya. And so, there's a number, di ba? Tapos nga, so numero yon. It makes it solid kung lahat sa team, hindi lang ang marketing, na-excite. So, a solid marketing plan is something that creates excitement at kumpiyansa na kahit ano yung numero yun, and usually wala pang target na lumiit, usually paakyat yan, no? At kung ikaw ay startup, talagang mas exponential ang growth, dapat ka-excite. It's not something na pag lahat umiiling at parang ayaw naman ata pa bonus niyan di ba? So medyo kabahan ka. So that means you're not as a marketeer na ikaw ay nagpipitch ng idea mo. Something's wrong kasi hindi kumpiyansa at hindi excitement yung nakukuha mo eh. So I think that's the first lipstick.
Yeah. I think for a marketing plan to be really solid, we go back to the whys natin, 'di ba? And we go back to how we come up with the objectives, yung whys nga natin is we go back dun sa parang yung ating magic formula kung tawagin is yung insights natin will always be experience, feedback, plus data, di ba? We get the insights. So, lagi kong sinasabi to kasi I also hold workshops for marketing that a lot and the bulk of the marketing plan talaga is not on execution. Hindi naman yung bulk ng work ng marketing is on execution, but on the pre-work. Kasi before we can proceed to making your marketing plan, it has to be solid because it has to be based on insights that are from your data, your historical, di ba? Your market assessment, ano ba yung traffic generators mo, who are you currently talking to. So those kinds of data that you really need to be able to make dito papasok yung smart planning, di ba? Yung tinatawag nating smart planning, building your objectives, market assessment. So lahat to, yung bird, lahat. Doon natin lahat ipapasok yun. And when you have your enough data with everything, na alam mo, okay, I think I'm fully prepared. And since it is based on a very solid foundation, that's when you have to fill in na yung monthly plans natin based doon sa budget that is given.
Ayun. I think it will be also important, I'm sure they're writing down, but define uli nung SMART at saka yung bird. For
Diba?
our ano.
So smart, 'di ba? Ito yung sasabihin natin. When we plan something, dapat smart siya. So smart is specific. So dapat very specific. Meron kang objective, meron kang goal, and specific doon yung ginagawa natin, 'di ba? Kinabahan ako bigla, parang na-text. And then M is measurable. You need your metrics. So how can you say na it is viable? How can you say that this is successful, di ba? Ano ba yung metrics natin to say na achievable to, or this is something na for the brand, di ba? Yung measurable. Dapat may targets and metrics tayo. If you want to grow your brand, it may be transaction counts that you're looking at. If you want to, I don't know, grow your sales, baka PTA or per transaction basket size yung tinitignan natin. But it has to be measurable. And A is attainable. So dapat realistic siya, 'di ba? Hindi siya yung suntok sa buwan. Kunwari, based on your data, yung year to date mo was, for example, lang 1 million. And then on the next year, gusto natin 3 million. So medyo malayo. So kailangan talaga has to be attainable, 'di ba?
Ito na yung may paghuhugutan.
And then yung R natin is, of course, nabablock ako, ano ba yan? Yan, realistic. So attainable, and then at the same time, realistic. So dito papasok, ano ba yung mga resources na needed natin? So kunwari, gusto natin, ito yung goals natin, ito yung objectives natin, pero realistic ba for us? Ano ba yung kind of resources that need? Anong kind of manpower is needed? And then lastly, of course, it has to be time-bound. Kasi kaya gumagawa tayo ng calendar, kunwari, you want an initiative, pero dapat hindi natin siya, kung kailan na lang pwede, or kung may time tayong libre, or kung hindi mo na-reach kunwari yung objective on the first month, i-extend mo na i-extend. But it has to be time-bound kasi dapat lahat ng ginagawa natin is measured on a certain timeline.
Ayan, pang ano talaga, grand final. Sorry no, on the spot kita. Kasi for all who are listening, pagdating dun sa SMART, we tend to take it for granted that we all understand it. But for the ones who are starting off their business, sobrang helpful nitong SMART na to. Kasi ito yung parang magdadala sa real world ng ating mga plano. 'Di ba?
Okay.
Kasi minsan ang dami nating gustong ma-achieve, but when you put it in a smart, measurable way, you'll all know na okay, ito yung resources at ito yung time. Kasi I think as far as resources would go, si time ang hindi natin ma-extend. Ito lang, meron tayong 1 taon para ma-achieve lang lahat ng 'yon.
Yes.
Correct. So I'll just build kasi nga I guess tama rin yung drill down ninyo ni Chris, no, what SMART is. Kasi ultimately, I guess that's a pillar to measure if you have a solid plan. I'd like to build on that further. The R, no, yung realistic. So Chris, share, hindi natin, we cannot underestimate the realistic portion of when you measure a plan. Whether it's the activity or whether it's the whole plan. Kasi nga, yun nga, lalo na sa food business, there's a marketing plan and then you have to check, ilan ba kayong gagawa niyan, di ba? So the human resource portion is also critical. Intention namin, magkakaroon tayo ng, badly put, if it's a growing business, you have additional concept brands. Tapos bilang sino kayo? Ako lang. So that's, setting yourself up for failure dahil either hindi talaga magawa ng taong yon or talagang lalayasan ka dahil talaga you set that person up for failure. So I guess the realistic portion, even where everyone's excited. And I've sat through plans, no? Galing, ambitious. Tapos biglang, di ba, anong pondo niyan? Tao, pera, tsaka yun nga, mahalaga yung pinunto rin ni share. Kailangan na yan bukas, which is always the case. And that cannot always be the case. At alam na natin yan from experience. So the R in SMART is always a good thing to drill on. Yun yung injection yun ng paglipad ng excitement to a dose of reality, right?
Yes.
Ayun. Thank you so much. Yes, Chris.
And actually to add everything, kasi I think maganda yung pillar of having yung smart planning. And this is something that everyone should get on board with. Kasi nga, it's really good to always have high standards, diba? Alam natin to always aim for something higher than we had in the past. But the thing is kasi, marketing will always be parang ano yan so attractive sa mata ng lahat ng tao, diba? It's very attractive, it's shiny, ganyan, it's new, but it's not about hype lang. Yun yung dapat natin ma-realize that it's not about just having hype, being viral. That's not what marketing is. And marketing has to be sustainable. Kasi marketing is an investment So dapat lahat nung ginagawa nating initiative has to be sustainable.
Ayun, good point. Actually, good point on my question number 2. So, ang dami nating gustong ipagawa sa kanila. Ano yung mga possible tools that they can tap on para parang, okay, tama tong ginagawa ko to, or somehow nasa right path ako? And any tools that they can tap on?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Can I just kind of like jump in kasi nga maganda na yung smart at gusto kong ipunto yung sinabi ni Chris, no?
Mm-mm.
Part of which is the data portion, di ba? Sabi
Ayan
natin,
na.
it has to be exciting, it had to build confidence. Nothing builds confidence than speaking with data. That means nagawa na, ito na yung resulta. Diba? Kaya parang, hindi ito pa naginip, team. Diba? Nagawa na, or ito yung trend. So yung data pupuntahin natin, mahalaga yung nangyayari sa labas dahil nga hindi tayo mag-isa sa mundo at hindi lang tayo ang brand. Now more than ever, hindi lang po talaga tayo ang brand na pagpipilian. So share of stomach and that, we took that up na. So data from the outside, isang tool dyan is yung PESTLE, no? Yung political, environmental, social, technological, legal. Nawala na ako dun sa E. So sige, babalikan ko kayo, natitita moment ako. For example, from the news, di ba? Sample na natin, political, that can be local or global. Kapag election year, may pera ang lahat. So dapat higher yung mga targets than normal. At kung may track record na kayo ng election year peaks, no? Legal or / political. On the news, sa mga nag-TV patrol kanina, kung GMA kayo, okay lang. Ang proposed, na-approve na, pero hindi pa totally. I forgot, didn't catch which other approving body, but the 100 peso increase in minimum wage will throw off your financials. So kung hindi naka-input yun, dahil nga kakasulpot, di ba? At alam natin, for example, the last one is on the global level. Pag ang crudo, at lahat tayo affected because most of our stuff is imported. So that has to figure in your marketing plan. So pinupunto ko lang na yung PESTLE nga is important, no? I-hand over ko kay Chris na punto nga ng importansya ng data sa pag-build ng marketing plan. Chris, any other things that I missed?
Thank you, Miss Wina. Actually, I think para medyo madaling tandaan, all of the things kasi that Miss Wina said, it falls under yung BIRD na tinatawag natin or yung Business Intelligence Reports and Discussion. So, this is something that before you go into planning, dapat meron kang baon. If you're meeting, kunwari meron kang shareholders or meron kang mga kapartner sa business mo or kung may ManCo members ka na, dapat meron ka laging baong BIRD before you go into planning. Meaning, mga relevant news and trends, that's what's happening out there that may affect your business. So it can be yung sabi nga ni Ms. Mina, political, environmental, so all of these things. That's a very, very solid and good place to start in. Thank you, Ms. Mina. And other tools that I'd like to give, yung framework ko kasi for making the marketing plan is always start with yung inside and outside yung tinitignan ko. So kung kunwari, outside first, doon papasok si BIRD, we do market assessment. Always look for market assessment, meaning your traffic generators, your target audience, ano ba yung nagbago doon sa target audience natin, ano ba yung next level na trends, di ba? Lifestyle changes, insights, platforms, so anything that's about the market behavior on the outside. And then of course, we go in dun sa inside. Yun naman yung pag-aaralan natin, yung SWOT analysis natin, historical data, so sales, di ba? Your transaction counts, yung mga metrics that we really have to gauge kung ano talaga yung health ng business natin in terms of the numbers.
Ayan, gusto ko yung may stress talaga sa part na I think the the one that you said it's shiny, more and more, I think yung mga nakikinig sa atin nare-realize, nakikita nila yung peak lang. Kumbaga yung tip of the iceberg lang yung mga ads, yung mga what they scroll on the marketing. But now you're listening to the meat and what marketers and even business owners go through when it comes to what's considered before it even gets out and gets communicated. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yes. Yes, Vina.
Yeah, no, siguro I think tama ka rin, share. It just hit me right now kasi nga we're talking about in the context of probably mga nasa negosyo na for some years, kaya meron ka ng track record or meron kang mga ganong information, no? Meron naman mga ibang tao na nagkaka-start pa lang or magsa-start pa lang ng kanilang mga negosyo, di ba? Paano na? Wala naman akong track record or wala akong transaction count na panghahawakan. Probably the tip there is you can work backwards. Yung sinabi ni Chris na parang kung klaro ka sa objective mo, sometimes ano ba yung break-even point para sa year 1 mo, di ba? So ano yung, pwede kang mag-work backwards. So kung wala kang back data, pwede mong tignan yung financial, meaning ilang transaction count ba yan, ilang ano yung basket size niya, so you can work backwards is I guess what I'm trying to point out. And then, of course, yung sinasabi nga ni Chris na it could be also looking outside, no? So, which is, okay, ito yung para pwede akong bumawi o mag-break even, pero titingnan mo rin, teka, yung competition ko na parang feeling ko I have an edge or your positioning is obviously aimed higher, then you have a multiplier. Dahil kung, di ba, kung kaya mong i-outdo yun, de pasukan mo ng a little bit of challenge. No? So I think that's what I wanted to interject. Kasi lagi, pag corporate creature ka, nakakalimutan mo na, meron nga palang mga startups, nag-iisip pa lang, o kaya, wala akong data, o kaya saan ba kukunin yung mga yan, di ba? So yung mga iba, sometimes talaga internet desk research, news, competitive scan. So sometimes extrapolated data can help. So in the absence of mahal ang data na bibilhin, marami pong magagawa ang internet ngayon na makakatulong sa inyong pag-map out ng inyong plano.
Ayun, maging productive sa internet, kumbaga. Magbabati lang ako kasi may mga pa-heart ako nakikita, lalo na sa ating mga Girls Time supporter na si Ruby Rose at si Charisse. Thank you for tuning in. And moving on also, I like the part where you both discuss, you keep on saying numbers. Lagi ko kasi naririnig dun sa mga taon, parang, kaya ako nag-marketing kasi ako ng math.
Ay.
Diba? Ganon. I think, from at least from my perspective,
ni Chris.
that's natawa tayo, di ba? I think it's the part, the math has to make sense. Kumbaga, nandun tayo ng ano yung kwento behind the math. That's where marketing plans are built against. So, hindi siya pwedeng yun nga, hugot kung saan, or ito na yung part na magiging scientific marites ka na, kumbaga, pagdating sa internet, maging productive ka when it comes to bringing the outside in, as Chris has mentioned.
Yeah. Before leaving it talaga, kasi napaka-importante nitong pinupunto natin lahat, no? And I can invite, and I'd like to invite Chris, share anytime, no? Parang, numero, first of all, yun nga, natawa talaga na, hindi po.
Hindi totoo.
Hindi ka naman magka-calculus, pero hindi ka tatakas na MDAS, di ba? So, the multiply. Anyway, so, if we can probably give an example from a number, tapos nga si keyword also na gusto kong panghawakan din ng audience ng classmates natin ngayong gabi. Merong numero na talagang by itself, straightforward. Sinasabi na niya kung ano yan, inflation. Ano pa nga ba, di ba? Inflation. Pero may mga insight, the keyword na paminsan may numero, tapos pwedeng lanliman, may impact, o kaya may kwento ka pang pwedeng mahugot dun sa mga numero na makakatulong sa craft na inyong marketing plan.
Yes. Actually, sa akin kasi, the way I approach marketing, I want it to be a scientific approach talaga. Medyo nerdy ako in that way. Kasi yun nga, may mga frameworks tayo, di ba? But at the same time, we're still in a business. Yun naman yung reality. It's still a business. So, at the end of the day, all the plans that we're making, it has to benefit the business. Kasi di ba, dati sanay tayo pag marketing, yun yung sinabi ko nga, it's sparkly, it's shiny, ganyan. But it's all about the visuals, di ba? Akala natin, you have to look good lang to be able to market yourself. But at the same time, it has to benefit the brand kasi hindi naman tayo pwedeng puro eyeballs or awareness lang. So at the end of the day, we have to compute for our cost-benefit analysis, or this is part of the smart planning natin eh. Yung cost-benefit analysis is, simple lang, if kunwari mag-i-invest tayo into marketing, what do you think is or yung projected mong benefit or balik nun para sa business natin? And I think that's a good practice. Every time that we're trying to propose an initiative, every time that we're trying to propose anything that we want to do for marketing, there has to be a cost-benefit analysis because we're investing money into marketing.
Correct. Sorry, last po. And share, you have
Of course.
dahil talaga pag gumura power, alam mo naman, wala pa si coach. Naka, walang aawat sa atin.
Yeah.
Natakot ako sa sarili ko. Pero on that note, I'll just like to build yun nga, data into insight, no? Yung sa mga taong either tignan nyo yung competition, kahit tayuan nyo lang yung stall o kaya yung restaurant, tignan nyo, or your own back data. Siguro one example would be, or question that I'll throw is, halimbawa, sa panahon ng may inflation, kunin natin ang ehemplo ng potato corner. May giga fries versus yung mga solo or smaller sizes, no? So, where do you think, di ba, yun, yung insight nyo or yung pagkakakilanlan nyo sa eating habits ng inyong consumers, saan ba natin ipapalo yung kung may piso ka na lang, no, piso para sa promotion, ano yung ipupush nila? Is it the giga fries? Dahil mas nakakamura sila, dahil mas malaki, or barkada yan? Or is it going to be the, di ba, mas tipid na dahil nga may inflation, baka yung disposable income mas kokonti, so ipupush natin yung smaller size. So ngayon, data. Diba? So I think that's the insight, or this is working backwards. You have a question and hindi sagana sa perang pang-support. So kailangan talaga aralin mo saan mo ipipwesto yung perang pang-suporta mo dun sa giga fries o dun sa solo packs, no? So I think that's one example. Tapos nga, it's not going to be in the food industry, but I was talking with someone just 2 days ago. Coke, for example, we started off nung hindi pa masyadong issue yung disposable income. Coke, inaral yung different countries would have different levels of thirst quenching. Pag maliit ka dito sa Pilipinas, 12 ounces at 325 ml. Pagdating mo sa Australia, ang kanilang can, 375. Feeling mo, kahit hindi ka taga-Coke, malalaki silang tao. Baka, di ba, mas maraming. I'm sorry, I'm switching to Kapampangan.
DNI, yes.
Correct.
Inclusive, yes.
Languages of. But, okay, to the Kapampangan friends, Maya Pabengi po. Yun. So, but with economics coming in, di ba? So, hindi na pwede yung 12 ounces, pati yung Coke, dati may threshold kung magkano yung disposable income, di ba? Nagiging 10 pesos. Tapos biglang ngayon, nakikita natin pati cans. Huwag na natin sabihin yung PET na may sakto, di ba? Kasi napusin nila na wala nang thirst ngayon. Yung insight is paminsan gusto mo lang talaga ng yung may bula, pagbusog ka. Di ba?
Pagdighay, ganyan.
Pagdighay, ayun, the insight of the burp, di ba?
Yes.
So ngayon, hindi na thirst quenching, di ba yung dighay factor, magkano yung pwedeng ilabas para lang makuha yung dighay. So yun yung mga bagay na pag nakikita natin, at lalo na sa isang bansa katulad ng Pilipinas, where disposable income, despite the rising middle class, with all the challenges, it will still come into the table as a discussion. So, yun. Ano ang kwento ng brand nyo? Yun tanong. Diba? Anong kwento ng brand nyo? Paano nyo sasagutin yan?
Yes. And to build up on it lang din, ito na talaga pag all girls na yung discussion
Ito tayo.
Tapos marketing is something we're very passionate about. Yes.
Ikaw na bahala kung pumreno, Claire. Ay, share. Kasi
I think what ang ganda nun sinabi ni Miss Mina with the examples of Coke and the sa potato corner and where you're really pushing, di ba? Ano ba yung push mo dun sa specific variant, specific product mo? And I think it goes back to really knowing your target market. Because your target market actually is not system-wide. It may change in different areas. Parang yung pag you approach it na parang lahat templated, lahat pare-parehas lang, hindi natin pwedeng gawin yun because actually dito sa Philippines, iba talaga yung behaviors. Minsan pag nasa Makati ka, di ba, alam naman natin yan. Pag minsan malalim ang bulsa pag napupunta kang BGC at Makati, pero parang pag nasa ibang QC ka na, medyo hindi na ganun kalalim ang bulsa, di ba? So, alam natin yan na knowing your target market is really the key. And I think this is not more of a tool, but more of a tip of being insightful and very observative every time you go out. Not really just because of your brand or not just because of your store, pag doon ka lang. You have to be exposed in different brands as well, different environments, and always look at how people are spending their money. Kasi at the end of the day, yung sinabi nga ni Miss na last episode, share of wallet yan eh. So it matters how they're spending their money, whether it's for food, it's for leisure, but at the same time, yung when are they spending their money.
Ayun, I think it's really good the way it gets successful ang marketing plan pag yung gusto mong sabihin or gusto mong connection na ta-translate sa target market. And it's not easy. It's never easy. But it takes time and it takes an amount of research and yun nga yung sa back data. And with that, my next question would be yung, di ba, how can marketing plans maintain yung successful strategy tapos ma-identify mo yung innovative twists? Paano nyo malalaman yung ano yung, kumbaga, di ba yung thematic, we call it the thematic, and then the ones with the promos or yung mga kakaiba?
Yes.
No, go ahead. Chris.
Yes, Chris, yes! Fresh off the Valentine's week ng ating sobrang basing buffalo wings and things, yes.
I'm very excited ko. Kasi this is something I'm passionate about. I do this thing kasi sa Buffaloes wherein I call it the values and value marketing. That's what we apply then for the brand. Because sometimes, dapat it works hand in hand, yung values and value marketing. Of course, values marketing talks about your brand personality, brand identity, parang, humanifying or parang humanizing, ayan. Humanizing your brand to make it more relatable, di ba? Yung nagre-resonate yung brand natin. But at the same time, it has to go hand in hand with your value offering. So, dapat hindi kasi pwede na parang big ka lang or heavy ka lang on values marketing or your thematic. Hindi rin naman pwedeng heavy ka lang doon sa value marketing mo. Kasi pag ganun, it's going to be price wars lang eh. And pag ganun, you'll attract a different market. Yung mga budget hunters lang. Which is medyo mahirap yung loyalty nun or yung trust nun pag budget hunters lang. So it has to go both hand in hand na it's equally important because getting of course, your value proposition should always be there. But having people or having your customers relate to your brand is very important as well.
So, yeah, I agree with Chris. No? At the heart of it, I think, sige, ito na. Yung mga old school, if you're still talking about Michael Porter and, your strategy, you can go price war nga. Remember, price war is still a strategy, right? It's just that ako talaga, well, in what we've seen, that is not always the most profitable. Kasi nga, always you're squeezing, yun nga, you're talking to a different mindset, yung bargain hunters, and those people might not always shell out, and therefore you're always squeezing your profit potential. No? But let's not discount sa mga taong gusto mag-strategiya ng based on presyo, okay, on promotions. Let's not discount the success story of, for example, yung perpetual ng pagka-launch, talagang buy one, take one na siya. Kojic acid, no? Kojic acid, oh my gosh, dahil ang tagal ko na wala sa personal care. Okay, it'll come to me. Okay, so obviously tonight, Tita Wina is really in need of, but some people launch, like say, let's take it back to the food industry. Turks, right? The perpetual buy one, take one. Tama ba? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Shawarma Shack.
Shawarma Shack. All right, thank you. So gosh, I'm so not, yeah, okay, my memory needs shaking up. So sorry, classmates, pagpasensyahan nyo. But gusto ko lang ipunto na hindi masama, limitado lang nga, kapag bargain hunting or price war ang pinasok, no? Pero more often than not, sa mga nakita namin, why take the longer route to earn yung profit potential ninyo kung talagang patok ang inyong produkto? So agree with Chris that is always a balance of the thematic na sinasabi namin for corporate speak, o kaya yung the simplest is, I think, as Chris described it, no? Values marketing. It's not just the quick wins, ano. Kasi nga, tinuturuan nyo rin if you go on a promo or a price strategy. Tinuturuan nyo na wag nyo kaming lapitan hanggang hindi kami naka-price off. Or, so as a business owner, alam nyo, parang ayaw nyo yun.
Yung hihintayin na lang, no?
Oo. Itong challenge ko sa inyo, gusto nyo ba na parang kayo ang shoppers sa Shopee at Lazada na mag-a-add to cart pero hindi kayo pipindot ng place order hanggang hindi 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. Alam natin yung habit natin yan, or payday sale kung kung inabot ng inip, di ba? Pero alam natin na tayo yun as customers. Pero sa kabila, yung sellers, di ba, hindi gano'n ang kalakihan ng kita. So I agree with Chris on that and share. Sorry for taking so long.
Of course not. Of course not. I think it really helps pagdating din sa examples kasi that's the time, di ba, any of our classmates would know na parang with that, ano yung nangyayari? And I think that's the most critical part when you observe na parang ngayon, kung true blue marketer ka na, pinsan nakikita mo yung magic tricks and you're like, I cannot be fooled. But when you're a marketer and you're still fooled, magaling sila talaga.
Correct. At the end of the day, marketers are also consumers, di ba? Right, Chris?
Yes,
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, at saka yung part na good point, Wina, pagdating sa marketers are always consumers. I think that's also the biggest tool you have would be, but the caveat is here, you determine, you look into your proposal as a consumer kung ikaw yung target market.
Yes. Yeah. Ito na naman ako.
Yes, of course, yes.
Yeah, because lagi lang naman yun eh. We have to put ourselves in the shoes of our customers. And lagi natin tatanungin dapat, what's in it for me? Kunwari ako si customer, what's in it for me, di ba?
Ayun, oo. At saka I think that one big thing also, nagkaroon ng, di ba, maraming mga channels na ngayon. Dati, TBC, radio, di ba, TV, radio, print. I think one good thing that came out of it also is yung, di ba, dati pag nag-classify tayo ng target market, ABC plus, di ba, urban, rural, ang lawak. Ngayon, panipisan tayo. Tapos, dun mo na baga-identify ng very specific. Because the more you understand, the better, ito, ipasok ko yung sa agency part, it's better translated and communicated.
True. I'll build on that portion on the segmentation, hindi na malawak. Kasi nga, yung punto rin ni Chris, kadalasan sa, yun, even I guess yung core viewership natin, Maynila, and it's always going to be like even Manila can be broken down now. So tama yung punto ni Chris na doon. Ang customers niyo sa Valenzuela, sa Kamanava, malamang ibang-iba yan sa BGC at saka Makati. Diba? Lumawak ka pa, tumambling ka sa Bulacan at Pampanga, ibang-iba na yan. Ibang-iba na yan. So, never. So, yung law of averages, paminsan ginagamit na sa sanay. So, lumalawak na naman. So, we tend to generalize. So, meron mga common behavior, totoo, pero huwag kalilimutan na, yun parang nga ngayon, sa henerasyon ngayon, Gen Z, Millennial, damay ka pa. Kung yung zooming in and zooming out, I guess. So, that's why I do the motion. So, do the same for your data. So, there's national data. And then there's really, really regional, and then sa punto mo rin share, di ba? Even the platform. How they behave on YouTube is different from how they behave on TikTok, and is different on how they behave on Facebook.
Yes.
Yes, Chris.
Yes,
Ramdam ko ang iyong passion.
Just agreeing.
Yes, okay.
I'm just agreeing talaga na parang, yes, I strongly agree, Miss Nina.
Hindi kasi minsan, di ba,
Alam mo, feeling ko mas malala to, buti sa Zoom tayo. Kung talagang magkakatabi tayo, nako, mas masaya to.
Sa ating mga classmates, kung kami po ay nasa Zoom, ay hindi po kami nasa Zoom, mga 4 hours po kami sa Buffalo Winsington set kumakain. So, ayun. Actually, meron tayong phone-in question. So, ito, how can I translate my marketing plan into an easier to execute marketing calendar? So, yun, yung first point. Don't forget that. And then, how can I fit the execution into my busy resto negosyo schedule? Di ba? Iba yun eh. Kasi ibang-iba yung produkto na nasa mga supermarket sa restaurants. So, first is, how do I translate the marketing plan to an easier marketing calendar?
Okay. So that's the drilling down portion, no? Kasi nga
Yes.
parang ang lawak. So, ako really, honestly, it's, and the keyword is drilling down, no? From something that's, again, also an annual goal, di ba? Tapos nga, backed up with data, bibiyakin mo yan, di ba? Based sa trend natin, for example, for food, obviously, Q4 is always going to be the bulk of it. Bawa sa 100 pisong target natin sa buong taon, ang hiwa niyan is bulton, nandun sa Q4. So you drill down, no? But the execution piece is also, that's where you kind of like catch it also, no? So yung, balikan natin yung SMART goals. So first, biyakin yung annual to the calendar, di ba? Anong hati niyan, quarterly, and then down to the months. Tapos ka, dyan na yung mga marketing activities na darating. And each one of those activities, dapat nga, kaya nga, sang-ayon ako dun sa SMART measure stick natin, di ba? So, kung pinag-uusapan nyo, nasa Nobyembre na kayo ng 2023, for example, and then you're talking about January, and you're talking about something that has to be up by January 1, yung realistic portion tsaka yung timetable portion nun, medyo, di ba? So, you translate something as an annual goal, and then you're starting to look at January, and January pa lang wala ka ng kumpiyansa dahil ang, di ba, crash na lahat ng timelines, maglilib pa yung mga tao, magbakasyon, and by the way, mid-January 2 tayong promo. Paano na? So I guess that's, I'm answering how you translate it is drilling down. How you measure each of the drill downs is the SMART measuring stick na sinabi ni Chris. But for more info, I'll turn you over to Chris. I can see, you know, the excitement on his face. Because I'm passionate si Chris about this. This is her every day for the past X number of years. And she loves, you know, this is her passion.
I do agree. I really love it. I really do. You can see it talaga when yung eyes ko nagtutwinkle when I talk about it, diba? Yeah. For this kasi, I actually have this favorite book that I've been reading, yung Atomic Habits by James Clear, diba? It's saying lang na you cannot change naman 100% in one day, diba? It has to be, you have to always have to be 1% better every day. So for us to have a parang, how can you execute your marketing plan talaga and how can you fit it into your schedule? Madali lang, make a flight plan or make a schedule of your day. You don't have to finish all, kasi ito yung mga ibang nakakausap kong restaurateur na parang ang ginagawa daw nila, okay, Monday, that's my marketing day. Tapos lahat, gagawin nila lahat on Monday and then after that, they will feel unaccomplished. Kasi syempre, meron kang mahihintay na sagot, mahihintay na ganyan and everything because marketing involves a lot of department. So, ang hinihingi ko lang is make it shift, parang break it down na, okay, you have your marketing calendar na annual, tama yung sinabi ni Miss Mina, you have a monthly, you also have to have a weekly, and you also have to have a daily. Parang gawin natin siyang mas easy to digest kasi hindi siya nakaka-overwhelm pag tinitignan mo siya on a daily basis. Parang same lang yan sa operations, di ba? Parang one shift at a time, one table at a time. Ganun din for marketing. We break it down na one day at a time tayo. We don't have to move mountains every day. But we have to do something every day.
And I'd like to also still build on that, Chris, kasi nga yung pangalawang dimension ng phone-in question natin is, di ba, sa dami-dami, di ba, we spoke about this last week, to operate a restaurant by itself or a food business, by itself, just to exist is a major production number. Add to that the planning piece, di ba? So, and everyone, ito nga yung challenge ko sa bagong henerasyon eh. Even ako as a practitioner, bagamat retired na, parang, how do you rethink the whole process of marketing planning or the annual plan itself? Diba? Kasi nga everyone hates being pulled out of their busy schedule. Kasi nga, paano na, di ba? Ang dami ko nga, ito pa. So I
Dagdag ka
think,
pa, oo.
dagdag ka pa, di ba? Tapos yung mga meetings na walang katapusan, tapos di ba, yung paikot-ikot, tapos nga by the time 5th year mo na sa kumpanya, ito na naman, di ba? Tapos ganito pa rin.
Yeah.
And I've been with big and small companies, and that seems to be the case now. So how do you fit it? So I challenge now with today's technology and going back to the, lalo na, andiyan na yung AI, di ba? So yung mga things that bog down, and I challenge all the practitioners, restaurant owners, or dedicated employees, always question, ang kumakain sa oras natin yung mga importante din. So hindi mo pwedeng patanggal. Halimbawa, report creation. Pag hindi ka nag-submit ng report mo, wala kang pagbabasihan. Success ba yan o hindi? Or wala kang matututunan. Diba? Oy, sobrang flop pala ito. Oy, kailangan pala mas mahabang lead time. Oy, o hindi. Nagagawa pala ng mas maikli. The opposite is true. So with technology, how do we still get to do the not so exciting part at boring parts or nakakainis parts? Reports, for example, shorter. Pangalawa, ito yung mga nanonotice ko na lagi ko sinasabi, huwag kayong gagawa ng report tapos babasahin nyo. Okay? Alam mo yun, mga 60 pages yung PowerPoint niya, pero ang ginagawa niya, binabasa niya. Parang hindi marunong. So yung akin, kung ganon, kailangan yung insights. Kaya nga babalikan ko lahat ng mga discussions kanina. Marunong magbasa yung mga tao, tsaka malamang, dahil masipag kayo nag-submit ng report, or with the advent of technology, na-generate na yung mga reports na yun, kahit nga daily or the shape of the day, di ba? Hourly. Ano yung kwento doon? Yung tanong doon yung bakit, di ba? So we go back to the whys, which is what Chris started off with this session. Go back to your whys. And then talk about the plan immediately. So guys, lahat tayo, the focus is at the heart of it, dedicate a balance of the planning. But the plan is always also about how well you do your basics and then excite the people. No? So running your business the best way possible, keeping to your vision and mission, plus the planning piece, I think boils down to, I'll summarize it. Take advantage of technology to still create reports. Don't read off reports or create reports and expect yourself to just to read them. Tanong nyo, sinasagot ko ba yung why? Para mas mabilis na itong meeting na to, utang na loob. Diba? At doon, yung pag napunuan ko na yung why, yung so what? Diba? I think that's a very Procter & Gamble ano. Diba? The why so and the so what. Right? The why so is the data and the so what is the implication and the moving forward. So, yun po yung sagot. So, to everyone who hates long meetings na paikot-ikot at nagbabasa sa chart at walang katuturan ng so what natin, so kamot tayo. Bakit nga ba? Nasa kamay natin para how to make the planning piece less painful and more productive.
Yes.
Technology.
Yes, Chris. Yeah.
Doon natin talaga ipapasok that we have to be prepared. I mean, yung sinasabi
Yun.
talaga ni Miss Mina kanina na we have to accept that these meetings, all of these things, part of your life na yan, part of your daily task na yan. And that's why we need to prepare. Because planning is, yes, we have our daily task, daily, yung day-to-days natin, but we have to be prepared in a way na talagang when you come into every meetings, make it deliberate, diba? Where you spend your time, kung saan mo siya i-ano. That's why a clear agenda is very important. A clear timetable is very important, diba? Yun nga, plan the work, work the plan. So you have to be prepared all the time.
And I think tayo talaga, ang favorite part natin is marketing is a team sport. Tayo ang titimon, pero at the end of the day, dahil para maisingit or maging part ng plan nila araw-araw, buy-in. The beauty of buy-in. Kasi yun yung mga meetings na, okay, sige, maglaban tayo sa meeting na to, but the end of the day, we know where we're heading the ship. I mean, yung pagdating dun sa, alam natin how our days will go, and hindi lang pwedeng ikaw lang ang cheerleader. Dapat alam na nila kung bakit nila ginagawa.
And on that, Chris mentioned, part of the good meeting and the team sport called marketing share, no? Whether ahensya ka or ka-teammate mo sa ibang department, is to invite the relevant people. Diba? So that goes both ways. Huwag manghahatak ng mga taong walang kinalaman doon at ginulo mo kanilang oras. At the same time, kung alam mong kasama sila doon sa plano eventually, huwag doblehin yung meeting by not inviting them. So a well-planned agenda and a well-thought-of attendee list. So it makes for better, shorter, but more effective plan.
At saka naka-input na sila, di ba? Sometimes, especially for us who are not in the stores, we think it would work until you'll say, okay, magkakos ng bottleneck yan, mahirap yan gawin. So, hindi siya magsasucceed.
Correct. So co-authoring early on really helps.
Oo. Ngiti-ngiti si Christian kasi ramdam na ramdam niya yan. Di ba? Oo. Paano naman natin pala ma-challenge yung part na minsan we do see that yung objectives hindi aligned with the available resources. So, paano natin mako-cross-check yun to avoid unrealistic ambitions?
Ako, one has to move, no? Chris, feel free to interject. Madalda si Tita Wina, you know that. Ako, one has to move. So it's always a balance that you've sat through, especially the entrepreneurs that, you know, I've worked with, that talagang laki ng kumpanya at nag-start sa maliit. They've always been then the first one to push, di ba, beyond your, and it's nice to be pushed beyond your comfort zones. Pero, yun nga babalansin mo with realism, di ba? So, one has to move. So if everyone comes off with hindi excitement and then the realistic portion, the R, di ba, and the T of it does not seem to be aligned doon sa objectives, one has to move, no? Pondohan yan. O, so one has to move. Yung akin lang yun, balikan mo yung realism. Kasi nga, if you push your team so far that you're setting them up for failure, bad yun as a leader, whoever crafted that or signs off, no? Ayaw mo yun. You're always there to set your team up for success, diba? And success is both emotional and financial. So if you're not doing that, dalawang bagay lang yan. Iiwanan ka, diba? And that you yourself, your business is not going to be successful.
Yes. I think if the objective is very big, but it is aligned to your goals, to your vision, to your strategy, one of the things that I do is I break down that objective. I make mini objectives muna until I reach that objective. Kasi if ano yan ever evolving naman ang marketing. So if it's not feasible for us right now, ano ba yung steps or ano ba yung mga mini objectives that we can have that are feasible, that is working towards that objective? I agree with yung sabi ni Miss Mina kanina that one has to move, and that's about the compromise na you're not taking away the main objective, the big objective. Hindi naman natin sinabi na no. Sinabi lang natin wait lang, 'di ba? So it's really more on breaking it down, having those mini objectives, whether it's because of financial or whether it's because of lack of manpower or all those things. But soon enough, kasi when you keep reaching those mini objectives, eventually you'll reach that big objective.
Correct. And I think just to make it more realistic para yung sinasabi namin ni Chris hits home, no? So yung sinasabi ni Chris, yun nga, many objectives. So the question to ask, kung hindi aligned, teka, ito yung goal, ang laki, tapos ito lang yung resources backing it up. You'd like to ask two questions na magka-relate, no? One is to say, okay, so what else do we need to make it work? Kasi nga kung yung tanong is kulang yung resources to back it up. So what else do we need to make it work? Or yung sinasabi ni Chris, kung biyakin mo yan and you create, wag natin tanggalin. So yun na, what else do we need to make it work? Create many objectives that will still achieve the same goal. Perhaps you might find ways where it doesn't really need so much more from what was pitched, no? O kaya, pangalawa is that kung bababaan natin, di ba? Kung bababaan natin, ano yung compromise na it's not going to be far lower, pero hindi rin naman super dami nung hiningi nyo. So ngayon, magka-calibrate kayo. And the keyword that Chris used is there is a compromise. No? So what else is needed to make it work? Many objectives, breakdown, or, you know, so therefore, what is the realistic version of this plan? So yeah.
Nakakatuwa naman to speak about it in a way na parang napasok na talaga yung how is it integrated into my busy schedule in a Resto negosyo. Kasi yung baga, if it's a day at a time, pag na-miss ko yung 500 this day, kailangan ko siyang habulin bukas. Pero hindi ko kailangang i-worry yung 25,000 ko this week. 'Di ba? Liit-liit. But
Yes.
we have to be together with the sales team, with the rest of the support team, kasi hindi pwedeng si marketing lang talaga yung parang let's go, let's do this, tapos pagdating sa customers, hindi po yun yung natatranslate.
Yes.
Agree.
Yes. Ano
Oo.
siya, talagang it has to be 1% every day para maka-reach ka naman ng 100%, 'di ba? We cannot move mountains every day, but we can move an inch every day.
Ayun, may pa-build. And yung, I think the very important point whenever coach also, nafe-feel ko si coach sa presence sa ating mga episodes when he always speaks about how many relationships did we build today. Malalim yon. Diba?
Correct.
Hindi siya transactions not how many transactions we did today. It's the relationships. Kasi it's the type that we babalik at makukuha natin yung insights on a day in and day out.
Yes.
Yes. Actually, ang bilis ng oras. Nasa last 9 minutes tayo. Any last tips pagdating natin bago sa ating ang ating resto quote? Any tips when they do their marketing plan? Maybe Wina and then Chris again.
Yeah, so I guess, I think it's a nice segue into what coach would say, how many relationships. So a marketing plan is there to appeal to the intellect, di ba? So yung isang klarong plano ay madaling intindihin, but it will always have to appeal to the emotion. Dun sa mga nakikinig, na-excite ba? Di ba? Na-excite ba? Uy, klaro. Pero exciting ba yan? Or, uy, klaro. Pero hindi ko excited. So what will make it solid really is that it appeals to the intellect, it excites the emotion, right? And that yun nga, at the heart of it, the incentives are twofold for something that's intellectual and emotional. It's twofold. It's financial because I have what's in it for me, sabi nga ni Chris, there's something to take home to the bank to make my life better. Diba? That also appeals to your customers. Diba? I go to your restaurant for the food because it makes me feel more humane, more rewarded for the efforts na ginawa ko para mabili kayo at the same time. So, yun, emotional, intellectual for a plan, emotional for the plan, and then the payoff is something that's in it for, does it translate to giving something in it for your customers, for yourself, for the company? Yun lang naman yung akin siguro masusumat. Pag yun, yung 4 check boxes na yun, edi solid yung plan.
Yes. Sa akin, from my end, like I said, medyo nerdy talaga ako. Gusto ko may framework talaga lahat. Start with your pre-work, di ba? Yung sinabi ko nga kanina. It's about market assessment, di ba? Yung traffic generators mo, trends, ano bang meron, competitor check lahat, SWOT analysis, your sales performance analysis, and then yung mga pre-work mo, lahat ng analysis na pwede mong gawin, ano ba yung budget mo, ano yung nangyari in the past, what has been done, ano yung product mismo, all of those things are part of your pre-work. And then you break it down further. Doon sa after mo mag-pre-work, you do the marketing execution or your marketing calendar. And I think for me, the simplest tip for me when I do my marketing calendar is I have the immovables kung tatawagin. And these are the occasions na yun yung for sure lagi nating nilalagay sa calendar as guidance. Andun na silang lahat. And then you'll go into your whys na, di ba? Yung objectives mo. Okay, for this year, ang business objective natin is ganito. Marketing objective natin is ganito. And then you make your plan, yung smart planning, i-apply natin. And then you make the plan based on the smart planning. And of course, yung post planning natin tinatawag or yung assessment, we always go back to evaluation and validation ng ating planning.
Ayan. Kung hindi nyo pa naubos yung kung anong notebook meron kayo, ewan ko na lang. Pero at this point, I think it's a learning process all the time. So, I think sa ating 164th episode, natututo pa rin ako ang marketing aspect, and we have to always continue to coach and share. 'Di ba? Pagdating dito kasi it's always a journey, and marketing is not an exact science eh. So there will always be changes. And with that, I will show you our resto quote for the week. I think it really captures what is true for all of us pagdating dito is marketing is not a function. It is the whole business scene from the customer's point of view. O, di ba? Yan yung part ng hindi yung how it's translated. kung maganda yung plano pero hindi siya na-translate yung business natin seen from the customer's point of view, then it's not a good marketing plan. Of course, with that, I would like to ask for your final messages, Wina and Chris, sa ating napakasaya at lumipad na episode for this week.
Thank you for having me again. On behalf of, absentee coach, but share, and of course, it's lovely. Yun nga, na-reunite kami ni Chris dito pa, di ba? Pre-pandemic pa, yung turnover pa nga ata yung last namin nakita. So sa mga classmates, sana nakatulong kami at sana naman, yun nga, itong girls night out namin ay nakatulong sa paggabay, sa paggagawa ng isang marketing plan. So salamat for having me, Share and Chris.
Yan. Actually, sasabihin ko sana, girls live out tayo. Kasi hindi girls night out.
I love that.
So yeah, I really love this episode because I really love all the times that I get to share and talk about things that I'm really passionate about. So thank you, of course, for having me and having this platform to share all of this things that yung mga na-accumulate natin or napupulot natin along the way dun sa careers natin, di ba? And we get to give back to the community. So maraming salamat. Of course, it's always pleasurable to be here in Coach and Share. Kahit ako, ang dami ko ding natututunan whenever I listen in. So please, of course, alam naman natin na dahil natututo tayo, wag nating sarilihin. Let us continue to Coach and Share then to all of our friends and families.
Yan. And we encourage you, please do share this episode for the ones who didn't tune in. But we really thank you sa maraming pa-heart. Gusto ko yung mga pa-heart. Sabi ko, alam kong parang ang daming estrogen tonight. But thank you also for the men who were very supportive tonight pagdating sa ating mga questions. And with that, another episode. And so where we get rid of the clutter and focus on what really matters. We'll look forward to see you again next Tuesday sa ating Coach and Share. Good night, everyone.
Good night.